Welcome to episode 15 of Fizzy Brain. Hello, I am Aubrey Blakeledge, your host of this podcast, stream, vanity project, vlog thing. Do people still call things vlogs? Who knows? Talking about the creativity from the point of view, talking about creativity in general, from the point of view of a fizzy-brained bard wizard. Telling you, lovely people, what keeps me on the road. Let's say you people who keep me on the road, what I do on the road, and showing the lengths that I go to avoid actual work. Now, before we crack on, a little bit of housekeeping. So the gigs that are coming up, for gigs that have tickets, go to ticketsource.co.uk/awkward strawberry, which will have either the awkward strawberry gigs or tickets that I'm selling. Some venues like Albert Shed, which we'll come up to in a minute, through the Albert Shed website. So coming up in the next couple of weeks, on the 11th of April, I'm at the Doncaster Tap and Brewery, and that is sold out, and it's going to be an absolute banger, so looking forward to that. On the 12th of April, I'm at a private party, which is my wife's birthday. The 18th of April, I'm off to Shrewsbury, the Albert Shed, not Trafford, Shrewsbury, with Professor Elemental and Tom B. Wild. There are still tickets, but there aren't many of those left, so if you want to come and join us, do please join us. Then I'm off to Chester on the 19th for the Saddle Inn, and then back down on the 20th to Salisbury, to the Winchester Gate and their Cider Festival. Next Awkward Strawberry is the 1st of May at the Hobbit. The next Aubrey Storytime stream will be Monday the 5th of May. I've been needing to get back into the habit of doing those. I do apologise for how much I've been cocking that right up. And of course, every Tuesday at 9 p.m, allegedly, is the Fizzy Brain stream, which is what this is. So, how does the Fizzy Brain stream work? It is very simple. I split the show into two parts. Split it into two parts. Basically, the first part is what I'm meant to be working on. So projects to do with my art, my performances, my shows, blah, 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 blah. And I tell you what I'm working on, what I've been doing, how that's been developing. Part 2 is what I've actually been doing. And that's quite often the mad diversions going off in different directions and that sort of thing. So it's basically a way of containing the madness in my brain onto this, so you guys get a basic idea of what it is like to try and stay on the road as a musician / performer / artist, whatever the flying fuck I am, in the modern era, that sort of thing. So what have I meant to be doing? Okay, well, this week has been very, 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 very tour heavy. For those of you who joined last time, on the 3rd, I was at it was Awkward Strawberry with Elena, Sirrett, and Fragile Lucy. And there's some people in the chat who actually joined us. A big thank you to those guys, Kyle and the others who came along, because it was very limited numbers. And I'm disappointed not because of the performance I got to do. The crowd were lovely. It was really, really good fun. It was just, I felt really bad for Elena and Lucy, who I'd sort of put these shows on to give them an audience and show them to new people, and they played basically a rehearsal, but they played an absolute banger. So it worked really, made the best of a bit of a shite situation, but everyone who was there deserved the best show we can give, and I like to think we gave them the best show we possibly could. So it was good fun, if a little bit sort of, that could have been better, but so it started off the weekend a little bit meh, if I'm honest, but we had a good time. A big shout out actually to the guys that came along to the show, because they saved me from the most boring conversation I've ever had in my fucking life. After the gig, there was a chap there who was a lovely fellow, to be fair, who joined us at the back of he came in the last few songs of my set, and had a couple of chats with various people, just there with a drink of what I presume is Fireball whiskey and wandering around talking to people. And he started chatting to me about mortgages, and I wanted to crawl into a ball and just die. I just finished the show, so I had all my stuff, everyone was heading off, and I thought, I'll have a pint and then head on home, decompress, as it were. I wasn't allowed to decompress. I was compressed by a really beige conversation about fucking mortgages and other things, and it was so dull. But the lovely people who did come to our show were sat around the corner having a little gathering, a really nice little thing, and they came over and dragged me into their conversation in a way that made it look like they were trying to do some sort of um, getting my attention to do something, so I could go, oh no, I've got to go with you guys. Oh yes, I'm sorry. We had a lovely conversation about mortgages, and yeah, they saved me from that. So God bless them. And we had a lovely conversation after that, and one of those nice things where you have a group of about 4 or 5 people, and there's a few conversations going around the table, and they sometimes cross across each other, and everyone's lovely, absolutely lovely. So it ended up being actually, to be fair, if we look at it, it's actually a lovely evening. So mortgages aside, it was great. So after that, that was the Hobbit. Moved on to the Black Dog in Weymouth. There was an interesting story about the Black Dog in Weymouth, because 3 days before, I was meant to be playing the Belvedere, which is a completely different pub, as you can tell by the name. But it's run by the same woman, a marvellous woman called Lynn. And the reason I mention her name is I don't drag people through the mud, because I just don't see the point in setting fire bridges like that. I'm saying it as a compliment to Lynn. Lynn is a legend, and the only reason the reason I'm happy with the way it's going forward, I say go happy. The reason I'm not spitting foam is because Lynn is a legend, and I understand why. What happened was, the 3 days beforehand, I was moved from the Belvedere to the Black Dog, because Lynn is being screwed over by the management company that run the Belvedere, and she's running the Black Dog as well, so she's sort of porting everything over to the Black Dog. So I was a bit worried that half of my audience would be going to the wrong venue. But what happened is they went there, found out I wasn't playing, and then came along to the Black Dog. Now, I originally was going to get friend of the show, Tim Summerfield, who is going to be playing one of the Orchid Strawberry gigs actually in the future, and I've played quite a few gigs with him. He's an old friend. He's the guy that came up with the name The Sweet Chunks Band, by the way. More about that story later, another time perhaps. And I gave him a message, because he normally plays in Weymouth because he's based in Bournemouth, and I was like, well, do you fancy coming out and support me tonight? I've got a gig. You can split the money between us. And he said, oh, unfortunately, no, I'm booked out for a show. Of course, he was booked in to play the Belvedere. So they moved me across and then put Tim in the space where I was. And in a sort of, I don't know whether I can enjoy this or not, he lost most of his crowd when they found out that he wasn't me, and then went down the road to the Black Dog, which was hilarious. But also, he didn't deserve that, because he's a nice guy and a brilliant musician, actually. So that must have been disheartening. But, he knew that things were going sideways and gone a bit weird, so he didn't really, he wasn't really surprised. It was a bit of a sort of shambles, but a shambolic head in the right direction. What was interesting as well is, I'll tell you what, I'll tell the practical side, because there's the other side of it. There's 2 parallel stories to the gigs. I'll tell you the gig story, and then I'll tell you the seedy underworld story behind that in part 2. So, continuing with the gig, so we played a lovely little show. The people there were absolutely wonderful. Shout out to Ed Bleach, who's a friend that I made from gigging at Teddy Rocks, a festival I'm going playing later in the year. Wonderful man, brilliant musician, good, really good fun. Joined me on stage, played a set, and we had a smashing time. It was really, really good fun. It was an old pub gig, which I do love a good pub gig, because venue shows are really great, and wherever they are, and they have that energy about them. But playing in a pub gig where the audience is not quite on board and you have to sort of win them over is so satisfying when it goes well. And it was one of those, and it was smashing. There was half the room was people who knew us, half the people had no idea what was going on. But by the end of it, everyone was having a smashing time. Sorry, everyone. Oh, I'm going to be yawning a lot today. I've been yawning quite a lot the last few days, but that's not because of you. That's because of never sleeping, because I'm an idiot. Now, so I moved from the Black Dog in Weymouth. I go back to Southampton to pick up some bits, and then head back up to Bristol, to the Lion in Bristol. The Red Lion, there's several. There's the Lion, the Red Lion, and the Red Lion BS5 or something like that. They're all different, but they basically, if you're in the wrong one, because they're all completely different pubs. And so if you're expecting one thing and you go into one of the other pubs, you'll know that you're in the wrong one. But I've got a long loving history with the Lion. It is a smashing little pub, a punk pub. I pretty much lose money every time I go there, because they never have enough money to pay that much, because they avoid ticket sales where possible. They want people to come and enjoy music. It's very much a collective kind of thing, and their booze is really nice, so I end up spending most of my money behind the bar. And that gig was one of those nights. A shout out to Alan Fluker, a dear old friend of mine from Southampton, who now lives in Bristol and has done for many, many years now. Put on a fantastic show. I was expecting it to be a bit of a washout. but it wasn't. It was brilliant. Rammed to the gills. My mate Dave turned up. The Dave that features in quite a few of my stories, including the one that he's the person who gets beaten to death by our treacherous friend Chris. He actually turned up at the gig whilst I was telling that story. It was like I summoned him. And his lovely other half, Liz, basically deposited him with me. We stayed at Alan's house. Alan was very kind enough to let Dave stay over. And we got paralytic, really. And the next day, travelled home to Southampton. So, yeah, it was, gigging-wise, it was an absolute wonderful evening. Like, sort of, it built up quite nicely in this sort of, I won't use the phrase bell curve, but a bell curve. It just got better and better and better. It's really, really good fun. So, gigging side, very busy, lots of stuff going on. So the new album with Professor Elemental and my EP have sort of taken a little bit of a back seat, but they are being worked on. I'm getting the bits to pieces together, and I'm just working on the track listing for you lovely Patreons, and I'm going to start putting those out on there as well. And I'm also going to do some videos of the tracks as and when, so do a bit of promotion on TikTok and such. But if you want to hear the tracks as they come out and get them before everyone else, even before I do the Kickstarter, follow me on Patreon. You'll get links to when things go out on the free Patreon, or pay £3 a month and you get access to all the new songs. So just saying, like all my social media, just search Aubrey Blakeledge and you'll find me. I've done a website. I actually built a website and it was great. I set it up knowing that things would go wrong, put it on Facebook, and because of the stupid algorithms, I had to say, I built a website. Can you check if it's working? And most people used the common sense and went, Aubrey Blakeledge website. Or maybe I'll Google the word Aubrey Blakeledge website and find it. And most people did. But a lot of people were asking me for the URL. But the thing is, when I posted it up saying my website's done, as usual, I had a million things to do. So I went off and did the thing, then came back and then found loads of people asking, what's the website called? After a lot of people had actually found the website. But, do a good bit of troubleshooting, got some feedback from some people about what works, what doesn't. And, it ends up, it's now been sort of refined and chipped and polished a little bit that it's got there. I've got all the stuff on bands in town and such like that, setting up Bandcamp. It's all linked together. It's marvellous. I have a functioning website. Woo! Which is aubreyblakeledge.com. There we go. Cool, isn't it? Just reading the chat at the moment for those listening on the audio version. The ability to summon Daves is dangerous given that you know about 50 of them. Yes, I know 52 Daves currently. And by knowing 52 Daves, some of you may already know this on the pod. I don't mean people I know on Facebook. I mean, I've actually counted the people I know on Facebook. It's close to 150. There's a lot of Daves, but these are 50 Daves that I know and I've had at least one meaningful conversation with, so that I can picture them in my head, and I've spent time with them, not just someone that's followed me on Facebook that is also called Dave, because if I did that, the army of Daves would number in their thousands. So yeah, it's a weird thing. I know a lot of Daves. But the Dave Grant, or Davey G as we call him, arrived. We had a smashing time. Absolutely wonderful. Okay. Normally I would do a little musical interlude at this point, but I'm running behind, so I won't. So we're just going to go into part 2 of the programme. Right. Part 2. We've had part 1, which is things that I'm meant to be working on, which was all of the gigs I've been doing over the last few days, the album of Professor Elemental that I've sort of taken on the back burner while I get this done, but I will be working on soon, my EP and sorting that out, and the website, which was able to done, and the listings for the Sweet Chunks band. Oh, yeah, that reminds me as well, actually. Technically, not Aubrey Blakeledge stuff, but Sweet Chunks band stuff. I have just updated the listings of the Sweet Chunks band and posted on our social medias all of the festival dates the Sweet Chunks band is doing this year. So we are playing shows. They're all over the place. Come and see us if you can, because that will be smashing. We're going to get shake up the cobwebs tomorrow and make sure you get all of the baby sick off of Mike, and then cut Ash out of his spandex and put him in a waistcoat and make him do some music. So yes, we've got things to do. It's going to be great, and so we're working on that. So that's all the stuff that I've meant to be working on. What have I actually been working on? Well, first of all, as always, the British Rail Book Club. Now, if you have not been on the programme before, or listened to the programme, or seen my social media, I have a thing called the British Rail Book Club, which is a hashtag, which is basically a sort of casual book club thing for those who are doing travelling, or even if you're not travelling, it doesn't matter. Join in and let me know what you're reading, whether you're still reading something, going backwards and forwards, or it's just a book that you haven't started reading that you found that you think would be interesting. Either tag it on social media as hashtag British Rail Book Club, which I need to check out more and see if some people have done it, or tag me in it, or send me as a message, or in the chat as well. Let us know if there's any interesting books you've discovered. Now, I was sent this wonderful book by my cousin Jess. So last week, my uncle released a book where he was doing photography, and my cousin just posted me this absolutely beautiful book, and it is gorgeous in so many different ways, and sent me a little letter. I'm not going to read you the letter because that's my cousin to me, not someone else. And so this book is basically it's Bob Copper, Songs of Southern Breezes, Country Folk and Crewways, foreword by John Arlott, and it's effectively a travel guide. He's travelled across the south, and people he's met, and the stories told him, the songs that he knows, and it's absolutely beautiful. And in the back is reproductions, I don't know if you can see this, of the music itself, and the pages as well. Everything about it is just beautiful. It's an older, coarser kind of paper for you paper nerds out there. It smells absolutely amazing, and it's filled with charming little maps and all kinds of little things, and it's obviously a beautiful gift from my cousin. So my yes, it is a spam bot. I'm going to try and get rid of it. It's just that my computer decided at that point to just sort of die a horrible death, which was really helpful. So I'm just using my phone for the moment. So yes, if you have any books you're currently reading on, please put them into the chat. And thank you very much for the subscription, you lovely, lovely, lovely thing. Just waiting for my paperwork to come up on the screen, because I don't know why my computer decided to play a nosedive. I suppose it was just thinking, well, everything else is broken, why not just explode here as well? So normally at this point I would be doing the what I call Dragon On, where I'll be telling you guys what I'm crafting, what bits and pieces I'm working on now, but this time I haven't actually been working on dragons. I have been, because, well, actually all the dragons were sort of kept by the people who made them. So the people who made the dragons at the 3 gigs actually decided they wanted them, which is fair enough. So what I've got to show you this week is my amazing shoes that I've been making. So I have been, over the last couple of days, decoupaging this pair of cheap heels that I got online. And I have covered them with copies of Private Eye and Sonic the Comic, because that's the sort of combo you want on your shoes. Not just informed journalism, but the fastest thing alive with attitude. I've also managed to get 2 of these chunky bow ties, which I will be fixing once I put I think another 2 layers of varnish on these suckers on here. So I'm going to have a very fancy pair of fake what's it called, not irrational, what are they called, illogical choice, whatever they are, irrational choice, expensive choice. So yes, if you can't beat them, make your own. And so it's going rather well, because I tried them on today basically to see if because I gave 3 layers of varnish on these suckers, and they actually held up quite well while walking down the street with them, which is good, because I was a bit sort of worried that they would just fall apart. They got some cracks, as you can see on there and on there, which actually look pretty cool. So what I've done is I've covered them in a sort of a really strong fabric glue, which will get it all together but keep those cracks in place. So it gives it that flexibility in the places where it actually wants to crack and bend. And then I'm going to, once that dries in I think 24 hours, I'm going to varnish it and then see how we are there. it'll either be a glorious disaster or my finest shoe related hour, which, you know, it could, yeah, either way. I mean, if you're going to try something stupid, you might as well go hard or go home. So, yeah. Oh, bloody computers. Never going to be easy, is it? Always has to be a million things breaking at once, because why not? Yeah. I confused myself. Irregular choice, that's the word. Right, let's try and... Cool, now I've got the... Finally got the flipping thing working. Anyway, yeah, so tonight has been a disaster. Everything else was going all right, I knew it was going wrong. So, the other things I've been working on, so we're getting towards... So I've done my fake regular choices. I've also been laughing at a marathon. I got a tattoo at Saw Castle and got a hat. That's the brief version. The long version is that whilst I was doing my shows in Southampton, Weymouth and Bristol, I had, remember I said earlier on about the dark underside version of it, because I had the happy story on the top, and then I ended up with the seedy underbelly. Well, the seedy underbelly version, which had very little to do with what I meant to be working on, was actually a lot of fun. So, the first gig, pretty straightforward, apart from the mortgage chat, that was as exciting as it got. Got home, did some work during the day, and then headed off to Weymouth. When I arrived in Weymouth, I had a meeting with someone who gave me a tattoo. So I've got this lovely tattoo of the Sweet Chunks Band logo, which I'm very, very happy with, and I'm now looking after. Hasn't started hurting yet. It's on the slightly scabbing stage, so we're underway in, yeah, there it is, in Tattoo World. So as that's scabbing away, afterwards, went down to the show, played the show, then got drunk with the tattoo artist. I've been told since then that you're not meant to drink after you have a tattoo because it makes the effects quite substantially worse, or better, depending on your point of view. And yes, I ended up getting horrendously plastered with my tattooist at the Finns in Weymouth, which is a great venue, listening to a Guns N' Roses tribute act. Which was smashing. I drank so much that I fell asleep in the upright seated position, and when I woke up, I'd forgotten that I got the tattoo. So I looked at the tattoo and was really surprised by it, which is a weird thing to wake up to. Then I travelled back to Southampton, and remember I said I had picked some bits up? Well, the bit I had to pick up, and thank God I did go back to Southampton, because it should have been a silly idea to go to Southampton. I should have just gone from Weymouth to Bristol. Makes a lot more sense, but luckily I'd done a stupid thing and booked it the wrong way around, and it was good because the things that I'd forgotten were my medication. I'd actually forgotten to pack them. So I went home, took my meds, had a sandwich, was meant to be meeting up with some friends. That didn't work out, so I then ended up getting on the train and heading up to Bristol. But before I got the train back, because I had to get a particular train, I did get to see Portland Castle, which is actually a cannon fort. So it was good fun. It was quite small, good furniture, funny smell, and Portland is quite a dull place. Weymouth, very interesting place. And also I got given a really nice Russian hat. In fact, you know what, you guys have been so patient, I'm going to get the Russian hat, because you deserve to see the Russian hat, because it's... So, this is my fabulous hat. So I now have this hat. I have no real understanding of what I'm going to do with this marvellous hat, but I now have a marvellous hat. And I know that in the winter months, I'm going to be warm as fuck in this marvellous hat. So, yeah. Speaking of the tattoos, Puzzle's saying about needing to figure out what their tattoo will be for Saturday. They're coming along to the Tap and Brewery up in Dorchester, and they've booked, I think, 4 to 6 hours worth of tattoos and haven't worked out what they're going to do yet. So, unless we think of something, it might be a selection of rusty spoons. We don't know yet. So yeah, that was Weymouth. Went up to Bristol. Had a lovely time in Bristol. Like I said, the show was much better attended than I thought it would be. Absolutely rammed, and I may have got excited and drank 4 double gin and tonics. I drank so much that I was violently sick outside, and then had to be taken home in the taxi. I can't remember going home in the taxi. It was a nice taxi though, apparently. And then I slept in the house until 11:30 in the morning, which is the latest I've ever slept in someone else's house. I'm not normally a sort of... I don't sleep well in other people's houses at all. So it was amazing that I actually slept possibly the latest I've ever slept. I was meant to join in the Southampton Marathon on that morning, and it would have meant me getting up at 6 in the morning to get like the 6:30 train and then heading back to Southampton to then go do a marathon. I'm glad I said no, because I didn't get there till about 2 o'clock when most people were finishing. And the state I was in, still drunk. If I had actually tried to do the marathon, it would have been a fucking disaster. So I'm glad that I didn't. And yeah, so there was that. So I avoided a marathon, but I got to cheer my friends on who were doing the marathon. So yeah, it's the old swings and roundabouts kind of thing. And then we went and got drunk, which was nice. Yeah. That's pretty much it, really. I mean, we had a selection of lovely things, all those bits and pieces going on. Asking if you've missed much. Well, pretty much every technical failure you could possibly have. We lost the ability to make sound, fixed the ability to have sound. The computer decided no. I used my phone, which is what I've got back for Plan B. And everyone who's in the chat right now is hardcore and has put up with all of that rubbish to hear some of my inane stories. Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention, I shaved my beard off. I don't know if you guys noticed. It's basically a week-long experiment to see how I can tolerate not having a beard. I'm probably going to grow one again. I like having a beard on, as much as it was sort of like what we like to not have one. I've been able to sort of wear makeup a bit more and wander around as a more effeminate kind of look, which has been really quite good fun. But I quite like the beard and moustache. It's fun. But I'm going to give it a good go. Because the other thing as well is, like, before, when I shaved off the moustache and left the beard, it looked horrific. Because it was like a lot of something and then nothing. So what I did is that's why I shaved my beard smaller but equally, and then shaved it off in one go, so it sort of got used to it. I sort of allowed myself to get used to the idea of not having a beard. And to be honest, that's what I mean. It's that I don't hate the way that I look like this. I weirdly look, like I think I said before, I think I look more masculine without a beard, which is really strange. But it's a nice little thing, why not have fun every now and then, try something different. And even if that is shaving, because I realise I've actually had a beard on my face for about 20 years non-stop. So it was a nice sort of change from that. And yeah, so we'll see. One thing I did notice, actually, interestingly enough. So normally, I'm actually dressed the way that I dress in Southampton a lot of the time. I haven't actually changed my dress that much. It's just literally I've shaved the beard off. I use makeup all the time, as many of you have seen. Those of you who may know me in Southampton, I've been wandering around in hot pants and what's it called, fishnets and such like that. I do that all the time. And normally people don't say anything at all or even sort of look in a weird way. But since I shaved my beard off, I've had little comments, mainly from homeless people, which is rather strange. And the idea that they think that I'll give a flying toss about what they think when they literally stink of their own piss and are still drunk / on crack. So there is that. Or sad old men. And it made me realise that the reason they were saying things now where they hadn't before is when I had a beard on. They thought I looked like a psychopath and I could potentially rip off their head and use their skin as a hat. But when they think I look more feminine or more vulnerable, they think they can get away with little comments because I won't dare do anything. So highlighting this fact that these sort of people who are transphobic or homophobic or just bigoted in any way, including towards like people like sexist and also people who are racist as well, there's a lovely degree of cowardice to that, because when they think that there's not a threat, they're Billy Big Balls, but when they think there might be a chance of the person they're yelling at twatting them back, they shut the fuck up. So that made me laugh. But it wasn't all bad. I mean, this is only like small things. I'm still not getting as bad a treatment as some people that I've heard of, particularly in the US, because 99% of people don't give a fuck, that's all I care about. And like I say, the people saying it are often old cranky old men who are clearly not having any sex, or people who smell like piss. But the thing that was really nice is the amount of nanas that were smiling at me and making a point of going, "Oh, I love," has completely outweighed many times over, and with the powerful effect that nanas have over my experience, which is interesting. So the nanas couldn't give a fuck. Their sad old men do give a fuck, and also crack addicts covered in piss also care. So if you're thinking, not that you guys are thinking, but the general sort of, if those out there who are thinking what kind of world they want to be part of, do they want to be part of the hate-filled, piss-smelling, homeless people, or do they want to be like nanas? I know which one I would choose. Nana. So that was quite nice. It was good. Good. Yeah. So it's been an interesting week. It's been an interesting couple of weeks as well. Very, very busy. So lots of things going on. So I think that's covered everything. So in summary, what I've been doing, I've been gigging like Billy-O, working on a new album with Professor Elemental, demoing my bits and pieces and getting the stuff to go together on my Patreon, which you can join for £3 a month and get access to all the demos before I even start anything on Kickstarter and that sort of thing, and get the album funded. I've got the new website up. The Sweet Chunks Band's tour dates have been put up as well, which is all very exciting. I've got from the Great British Rail Book Club a marvellous book on Hampshire and Sussex mythology, told by someone who wandered across the Downs collecting this information in the 1920s. Wonderful little book. I've been making my own shoes, because I'm mental. It's not that I haven't got enough to do. Why not get into fucking clog making as well? Forgotten the word of cobbling. That's what I forgot the word for. Doing that. Laughed at a marathon. Got a tattoo. Saw a castle. Got a hat. A pretty good hat. And had a smashing old time. So it's been an interesting. It's been great. It's been a good week. So that's pretty much it this week. So next week I'll be back after a few more gigs this weekend, including off to Doncaster on the 11th, where I'm going to see Puzzle and a couple of others at the Donny. I might see if I can take my bike up, because it's just be quite good fun. I've got a new set of bike stuff coming along, so I might sort of use it to get to the train station, get on the train and cycle there and go from there. Who knows? It might be a stupid idea. It might be the best idea I've ever had. Let's test it out and see. It's my wife's birthday, which is going to be great. We're going to party in that. And then the week after that, because I'm going to come back next week, obviously, for Fizzy Brain, and then the weekend after that is the 18th of April with Professor Elemental and Tommy Wild in Albert Shed in Shrewsbury. There are still tickets available from the Albert Shed website. Don't go to the Albert Shed in Manchester. That's a restaurant. It'll scare the shit out of them if we turned out there, and I kind of want to, but I've been told not to. Then after the Saddle Inn in Chester, on the 19th and the 20th, back down to Salisbury for the Winchester Gate Cider Festival, which is going to be smashing. The next Awkward Strawberry is on the 1st of May at the Hobbit. Tickets are available if you go to ticketsource.co.uk/awkward strawberry. What I've done because the advanced tickets ended up being, with all the extra costs and such, 90p cheaper than on the door. What I've done is I put the ticket price down to £5, so when you pay for it, it will work out for you about £8, so it's worthwhile that way. Or come up on the day and spend a tenner on the door. Up to you. All the money goes to the artists who are performing. Next Aubrey story time is Monday the 5th of May, where I'll be telling you all kinds of delightful tales. Every Tuesday at 9 p.m. is Fizzy Brain, unless I manage to break the internet again. That seems to be my life, where I'll be telling you what I've actually been doing, rather than actually working, which you've just enjoyed. So please find me on all the social media bits and pieces. Think of your favourite social media, search for Aubrey Blakeledge and you'll find me. Go on Bandcamp, where you can buy merch like t-shirts, stickers, other such delightful bits, and of course the new EP will be on there, as it will also be on Spotify. YouTube has a lot of the back issues of this and other bits and pieces on there, so if you want to subscribe on there, and when the videos are ready for the songs, they will obviously be homed there as well, so that's going to be started to be loaded up with bits and pieces and posting up this and also last week's episode sooner rather than later, because life got in the way and I wasn't able to put it up, so I do apologise. Like I said before, you can join Patreon for £3 a month. You can join it for free and just get updates of what I'm working on, including listings and when gigs are and that sort of thing. But for £3 a month, you get all kinds of tasty treats. You get music, including the demos of the new album as they come out, and the new album when it comes out. You get access to merch when I get a new kind of merch coming out. All of my Patreons get it sent to them for free, so if I release a new t-shirt for the new album, they will get it in their size, and that sort of thing. You get the downloads of Fizzy Brain for you to download as a podcast and listen to at your heart's content. Of course, you can follow on Twitch. I won't be doing a post-stream chat tonight because I've basically been doing it by doing the actual stream, because I've overrun, because I managed to break everything. But if you are listening to the audio version of this or watching this on YouTube, join us on Twitch, where most nights we have a post-stream chat where I talk absolute bollocks. I'm probably going to answer a few questions anyway, because there's always some interesting questions, something that I've missed or something I've forgotten. So do give me a follow. We're heading up towards 60 followers soon. We've got 56, so people have been joining. Apparently I've been told that I need to set a target for 80. Don't know why, but apparently that's what we're aiming for. So, thank you very much. My name is Aubrey Blakeledge, and he said Aubrey Strawberry. Aubrey Strawberry. That works. I was debating at one point changing my stage name, to my grandmother's maiden name of Nutter and being Aubrey Nutter. But I shall think about that for another time. Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Thank you for joining me tonight. If you have a glass in your hand, raise it up and put it in your face. Good night. That is disgustingly cold.